Welcome to Silent Secrets. In today's video, we're diving into something powerful, something most people never realize until it's too late. What truly unsettles people isn't your anger. It isn't your words, your arguments, or your reactions. It's your absence. It's when you suddenly go quiet, when you stop chasing, when the constant attention they took for granted disappears. That's when the panic sets in. Because your absence carries a weight. Your presence never could. It teaches, it reveals, it transforms. It shows them what life feels like without your energy, without your care, your love, your kindness, your effort. It's only then that people begin to understand what they had and what they lost. You see, people don't grow through comfort. They grow through loss. They don't appreciate your warmth until they're standing in the cold. They don't value your presence until the silence becomes too loud to ignore. You didn't lose them. They lost you, and your absence has become the lesson they never wanted, but desperately needed. This isn't about revenge. This is about reclaiming your power. About understanding that silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. When you learn to walk away quietly, everything changes. So before we begin, comment this affirmation down below. My absence teaches what my presence once tolerated. Because today, we're going to uncover why your absence becomes their greatest lesson, and how it transforms you into the most powerful version of yourself. Let's begin. Your absence reveals your true value. When you were present, they thought your energy was endless. They assumed your love was unconditional. They believed your time would always be available, no matter how they treated you. But when you finally stepped back, when you stopped explaining, defending, or trying to prove your worth, that's when reality hit them. They began to realize something crucial. You weren't just another person in their life. You were the glue holding things together. Your energy, your consistency, your compassion. These were rare gifts. The absence of your presence doesn't just create silence, it creates a void. A quiet emptiness that echoes louder than any argument ever could. People often mistake familiarity for permanence. They forget that love and presence are privileges, not guarantees. When you remove your energy, they start to see what they've lost: stability, understanding, and peace. But here's the part most don't understand. Your absence isn't punishment, it's clarity. It separates those who valued you from those who only benefited from you. Don't rush to explain your silence. Don't break it to prove a point. Let time be your messenger. When you choose peace over chaos, distance over drama, you create space for growth, both theirs and yours. So hold your silence with grace. Focus on yourself. Let your peace speak louder than your pain, because one day, they'll realize your absence didn't destroy them, it revealed them. 2. Silence exposes. True intentions. When you stop talking, something incredible happens. You start seeing. Your silence becomes a mirror. It reflects the true intentions of those around you. Because people show their real colors not when you're giving, but when you stop giving. When you no longer respond instantly, when your attention is no longer guaranteed, masks start to slip. Those who were genuine will still check in. They'll reach out because they value you, not because they need something. But those who were pretending, they vanish. They get angry. They twist narratives to make themselves feel in control again. Your silence isn't just quiet. It's diagnostic. It reveals who truly cared, who was only comfortable when you were compliant, and who panics when they lose control over your emotions. Here's what's fascinating from a psychological standpoint. People who thrive on control feel deeply unsettled when they lose access to your reactions. They're addicted to your emotional engagement, your laughter, your tears, your frustration. So when you go quiet, they lose that power supply. They start to spiral because they can't feed their ego anymore. Your silence becomes a filter. It separates authenticity from performance. You no longer have to question people's loyalty. Their behavior during your silence will answer that for you. Remember, silence doesn't confuse the genuine. It only exposes the false. So stay quiet long enough for the truth to surface. Your calm will tell you everything words never could. Your absence forces them to face themselves. When you walk away, you're not just leaving. You're holding up a mirror. Because now, there's no one left to absorb their chaos, no one to deflect their guilt, no one to shield them from their own reflection. You see, when you were present, you were often the emotional stabilizer. You took on their moods, soothed their insecurities, and tried to help them see better. But when you finally walked away, that mirror they avoided suddenly became unavoidable. And that's when the discomfort begins. They start remembering the moments they dismissed your feelings, the messages they ignored, the times they took your effort for granted. They start wondering if they pushed too far, and deep down, they know they did. But your silence isn't revenge. It's reality. It forces them to experience what they once denied. Without your validation, they confront emptiness. Without your warmth, they meet their own coldness. Without your attention, they feel invisible. That's the true power of absence. It doesn't scream, it teaches. It doesn't seek closure, it delivers lessons. So stop chasing apologies. Stop explaining your worth. Stop reopening doors that lead nowhere. Your absence is the closure. Your silence is the lesson. Every day you stay gone, the truth gets louder in their mind, and that's not cruelty, that's consequence. Comment this affirmation below. My silence makes them face their truth. Your absence reveals their dependence. Here's something most people overlook. When you step away, the person who seemed the strongest often falls apart first. Because while you thought you depended on them, the reality was, they depended on you. They depended on your emotional stability, your reassurance, your ability to understand when no one else did. They fed off your presence, your energy, your empathy. When you stop showing up, they lose their emotional anchor. They start replaying old conversations, checking your social media, trying to feel your energy from afar. They might act indifferent, but internally, they're panicking. Why? Because your absence dismantles the illusion of control. They thought they had you figured out, that you'd always be available. But when you stayed silent, they realized something devastating. Your presence was a gift, not a guarantee. Their sense of power begins to crumble. And slowly they understand that what they mistook for control was actually dependency. It's fascinating. The human mind attaches itself to patterns that feel secure, even if they're toxic. So when that pattern disappears, the brain goes into withdrawal. Let them. Don't break your silence to soothe their guilt. Don't return to comfort their discomfort, because the absence they feel is the exact lesson they need. Every moment you stay silent, you remind them that your energy is sacred, that your love cannot be misused, and that your presence was never a given. It was earned. Silence becomes the sound of your evolution. There comes a moment when you stop needing to prove your worth, because you've already learned it. Silence isn't emptiness, it's transformation. It's what happens when you outgrow the need for validation and start valuing inner peace more than outside approval. When you go quiet, you begin to hear yourself clearly. Your mind calms, your boundaries strengthen, your energy refocuses on growth instead of reaction. You start reading more, healing deeper, working on your goals, rediscovering who you are outside of anyone's expectations. And people notice. They'll sense the difference in your energy. The same people who once underestimated you will start to wonder what changed, but you don't owe them an explanation, because this evolution is yours alone. Silence is not the absence of communication. It's the presence of understanding. You've realized that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts or your time. You've outgrown explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. The person they remember no longer exists. The one who overgave, over-apologized, and over-explained has evolved into someone grounded and self-assured. Each day you remain silent. You grow stronger roots within yourself. You no longer react from pain. You respond from peace. Affirm it now. My silence is proof of my growth. Silence unmasks hidden agendas. There's a psychological truth few talk about. When you stop reacting, you expose manipulation. Because some people don't seek connection. They seek control. They don't want communication. They want compliance. And your silence disrupts that. It removes their ability to pull emotional strings. When you stop replying instantly, when you stop explaining every feeling, you take back control of your emotional state. That's when you begin to see the difference between care and control. Watch how people respond to your silence. It tells you everything. Those who respect your space truly value you. Those who get angry or guilt trip, you were never about love. They were about power. You don't need to expose them publicly. Your peace does that for you. When they no longer have emotional access to you, they'll expose themselves through their frustration. And the most liberating part? You don't need to win arguments anymore. You've outgrown the battlefield. You're not silent because you're weak. You're silent because you've learned peace speaks louder. Your growth. Without them is their real lesson. Nothing unsettles a person more than seeing you thrive in silence. Because people expect your world to collapse when they leave. They expect you to fall apart, beg, or chase. But when you rise instead, when you glow up mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, it shakes them to their core. That's when they realize they didn't break you. They built you started working out again. You focused on your passions. You stopped overthinking and started creating. You built habits, healed trauma, and invested in your peace. While they're replaying memories, you're writing new chapters. Your silence becomes louder than any confrontation could be. It says, I don't need your validation. I have my peace. And the best part? Growth doesn't need to be announced. You don't need to post quotes or show off your success. Your evolution is visible through your calm, your confidence, your consistency. Let them watch from afar. Let them realize too late that you became everything they thought you couldn't be, without them. Comment this now. My silence is my power. My growth is my revenge. Your absence teaches them. Value your. Absence isn't cruelty. It's clarity. It's the moment when they finally understand that your presence was never owed. It was earned. When you stop showing up, they're forced to confront the emptiness left behind. That emptiness becomes their teacher. It shows them how much they relied on your energy to feel stable. It reminds them that respect, consistency, and love are not infinite. They are reciprocated. Your absence is the consequence of their carelessness. It's what happens. When someone mistakes kindness for weakness and consistency for obligation, and the beauty of it all, you didn't have to raise your voice. You didn't have to seek revenge. You just walked away, and the silence did the talking. Every time you choose peace over chaos, distance over drama, you raise your vibration. You show the universe that you value yourself, and life begins to mirror that energy back to you. In better people, healthier opportunities, deeper peace, your absence becomes not just their lesson, but your liberation. So, remember this. Silence is not emptiness. It's power. Absence is not loss. It's transformation. Every time you walk away from something that disrespects your peace, you reinforce your worth. Every time you choose to stay silent instead of explaining yourself to the wrong person, you choose self-respect over approval. You are not cold. You're calm. You are not heartless. You're healed. You're no longer trying to convince people of your value because you finally know it yourself, and that right there is freedom. Drop this final affirmation below. I am the master of my energy. My absence proves my strength. If this message spoke to your soul, hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and join our growing community of thinkers, healers, and silent warriors. Here on Silent Secrets, we believe your peace is sacred, your growth is your power, and your silence is your statement. Remember, your absence will teach what your presence could never say. Let it be your lesson. Let it be your legacy.